EpicSkillshot, who is on stage, joined by Fnatic's carry in the bottom lane.
Thank you very much, Pulse. I am joined by Reckless. First of all, congratulations on a dominant and convincing win. I want to talk about Cly. Let's sit back and tell me, how did you find this guy, and why did you bring him into the team?
Well, I guess first of all we met maybe in Season 3 or so in solo queue, so I've known about him for a while now already, but he didn't really come up to point until lately when the reset and everything, and he was really high in Challenger, so I guess we just kind of ended up playing against each other and with each other occasionally, and then I just ended up duking with him a bit, and it felt, I guess, right already from the start, because we're both Swedish, we both understand each other on a personal level, so it's like easy to get along, I guess, in some ways. And it was kind of just convenient in some ways too, because things didn't really work out on a team level with Noxiac, and that's something that kind of hinders us to grow faster, to grow more. And I think that's why we made the change we did. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the win. This is the first mid-season substitution that Fnatic has made since 2013. It's been a long time, and I can imagine it was a difficult decision. But what is the mood like in the team now that you've been training with Cly for a week? Obviously, the win is going to help out, but what's the mood in the gaming house in terms of your preparation?
I mean, it's not like the mood was bad or anything when Noxiac was around. It was still really good. But I think now with Cly coming in, it's more just, it feels like everyone's on the same page, both in the game and outside of the game. And it doesn't have to be forced in some ways, and that's kind of the problem. That was kind of the problem with Noxiac. Even though we all really, really tried, and it was a tough decision to make to replace him, I still feel like it was just something that was meant to happen at some point. And the sooner we did it, the more time we had to grow with one another. And with IM coming around in 3 weeks or so, we want to be on our A game, so we can put up a fight and represent Europe well.
I'm happy to hear that. Looking ahead, something that Fnatic as an organization and a team you guys have said as well, looking towards Worlds. Let's get some insight then. Is your primary role still going to be shot caller, or is this something you're also looking at to adjust in the team now that you brought Cly on?
Well, I think over the past month I've kind of grown into the role already, so, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it, and at the same time allowed myself to, I guess, play my game as well. So I wouldn't say, like, with him coming in, he's going to take everything over, but then again, maybe he can take some burdens off my back, because at some points it can get a lot for me to deal with, because as an AD carry you are very, like, on point all the time. You don't have much time off where you can kind of take a step back and think about what's next. But I feel like so far it's been working quite well with me on the shot calling role, and everyone chipping in and giving maximum amount of information, so it makes my job a lot easier, I guess. And I think today we showcased a pretty strong, like, team synergy. We were really on point with what we were doing together.
Yeah, it definitely looked that way from an outside perspective. Thank you very much for the honesty. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck for the rest of the split. For now, we're going to head back up to Shocks on the analyst to wrap up that game.
Well, thank you so much, and I actually want to talk about the interview a little bit first, because indeed it was very, very insightful. A couple of things to me. The first thing is that in the beginning of the season, of course, we heard from all the members, hey, we want to be good at the end of summer. This is a project that we are working towards, yet here we hear we weren't growing fast enough. What does that indicate to you for short-term goals for Fnatic?
No, I just, like Reckless just said, that maybe all the players were not on the same page, and there were some kind of issues inside the team, and that can really, like, I personally know this, that can, like, really hinder the growth of the team if you are just not everyone as motivated and have the same goals.
Yeah, definitely. You may not be at a level yet where you want to be, but you can have a good indication that you have the potential to grow there or not. Like, certain teams just are not meant to grow because people have different philosophies about in-game, out-of-game, practice habits, the way you react to something. Maybe your teammate finds certain things stupidly funny, and you think, like, what childish humor. And like, little things like that can seep through in the day-to-day relationships in the game, and in the end, it's all about trusting each other and blindly following calls. If somebody goes in, you want your team to go in with you. Worst case, you know, after the game, analyze that play then. So that seems to be the main reason to remove Noxiac, because on an individual level, he wasn't performing much worse than the other Fnatic members. So it must have had some psychological impact in the gaming house.
And it just has to click, especially for Reckless, I would say, with all the responsibility he's taking on his shoulders in that team. Let's look at this game then. I thought it was a very 2015 Fnatic-esque game. And Krepo, you wanted to talk about picks and bans specifically, because you feel like with the bans, they shut down Elements and shut down their strength, specifically in Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about both these compositions. Elements is what we saw kind of G2 play in week 2 and 3, like these heavy poke comps, double siege, and it's really good if you can just group up and siege, but Fnatic kind of did it better. And more importantly, I really liked the thematic counter pick from Nautilus. So they kept pushing in Steve in the top lane. Steve was the only engage for Elements, and Elements have shown in the past that they've been really struggling when they don't have a hard engage. So Steve was constantly pushed in on the side lanes with the ZZ Rot, with the Banner of Command minion, and he couldn't really get any engages off.
Yeah, and 4v4 in this case, Elements does lose, especially when Fnatic is ahead, because Natalie can just nullify the poke of Corki and Ezreal by healing and then poking back, and at this point Elements is just pretty much waiting to get charmed or hooked.
Yeah, and it kind of got even worse once Elements botched up the lane swap, and we kind of have the replay of the moment where it all came ahead for Fnatic, and that was at the tier 2 tower where they started sieging up. Elements was behind from the play already. Deficio touched upon it in the game. Look at where Fnatic is right now on the map. They're rotating towards bot lane, and Rawless, he's stuck in the top lane trying to catch up on the play. We can roll the clip right now, and we'll see Cly actually being very comfortable right here in his role as a support. Like, playing lane swap as a support on stage for the first time is pretty rough, but he did very well here. He even goes for the hook here, and look at how Reckless immediately will foul up too. Even flash in to get the 2 last hits here, and then the Ignite ticks him off. So it's nice to see Fnatic play aggressive on the same page with that new support.
Yeah, honestly, like, Steve was just way too ahead here. Like, just trying to go in 1v4, I really don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, that's a signature move from Elements where they kind of put themselves behind draft-wise, and then they try to catch up at the wrong moments. We saw it in week 3, day 1, as well, when they played against the Unicorns.
Yeah, and finally then actually at one point Fnatic said, okay, we have this small advantage, let's turn this into a huge advantage, and that's where we saw the game snowballing out of control. For Fnatic at least, they just pressed the go button and they went for it.
Yeah, we'll see like a series of skirmishes again. This is Gilius desperately trying to make a pick to get the game even, but yeah, kicking there is pretty rough when Faven plays the ways he does.
Yeah, because Faven gets away, and at this point it's just Fnatic trying to clean everything up, and eventually they do succeed.
Yeah, look at that nearly damage coming out there with the Runic. Then Gilius has the flash, Rawls is chasing. Eventually, Cly will walk up here, and he'll go for the sick Mad Life play. It's actually a zoning hook. Either Rawls gets into it, or he walks back into Faven. Either way, he dies.
That was the strat.
No, he probably should have flashed with the Lantern, but honestly, it's bold going for a Mad Life on the stage. But the clip that really matters is what's going to follow here afterwards, where we fast forward in time, and we're going to get that Baron set up as we see Aika dying here. Fnatic, they really set up that bottom wave push with the banner, with the ZZ Rot, and suddenly they start the Baron.
Yeah, I think this hook was blind. I'm not sure.
I think a ward just died where he swept, but either way, Cly again, zero hesitation, and I think that's fantastic to see. Many supports will be like, yeah, do we stop? Do we keep doing Barons? He just goes over the wall. I think Elements could have actually won this fight. A bit unfortunate flash from Steve, but thematically, I like what Elements brought, what Fnatic brought to the table. Unity in playstyle, the new supports playing aggressive, and everybody seems to get along.
Yeah, just like this is the Fnatic confidence, like Efia said before there, that they know they are ahead, they know they can go for the Baron play, and they know they will win the fight when Elements does come and contest.
And that is a fantastic sign for Fnatic fans, at least. A win on the board, and as we speak, Origin and Splice are gearing up for our next clash of the day. Before we go, we'll hear how Vitality Shook found himself roaming the jungle.
I used to be a top lane main, but back then you didn't have wards since level 1, so I was always winning lane, but then I got ganked by the enemy jungler, and then my jungler was never there to help me, so it's like I might as well just swap to jungle and do the camping instead, so that's how I became a jungler. Right now the best way to play jungle is you just farm, you get your green item, your jungle item gives you vision, you get 2 wards for free, and you just look to go into the enemy jungle, place them, back out, go back to farming, and just they provide vision for your team. Like, you're not really to gank unless they overextend really hard and get a free kill for it.